What's going on, everyone? Talon here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a build/review on Satana. Alright, so the two ways that I think that you can build Satana the best is going to be for recovery rate or for dodge. So I think those are the two that she benefits the most from. Another one that I was looking at is defense penetration. The only downside with a build towards defense penetration is you don't get that extra survivability. So let's take a look at her stats. Alright, so as you can see here, I have almost 30% dodge, almost 30% skill cooldown, and then 182% recovery rate. Those are the main stats that you want to look at. There's also the ignore defense, is at 22.5, which is fairly high actually, considering I didn't do too much towards defense penetration, but she does have it built into one of her skills, which also makes that very nice. So now let's go ahead and look at her gear. Alright, so first gear here, nothing unusual. She's an energy attacker, so we're going to do energy attack. Over here we have all defense, and for the top one I just threw an energy defense by level just because energy defense was the lower of her two defenses. And then over here we have recovery rate and dodge. So basically what I did here is I tried to get my dodge up to around 30%, so that's why those two dodges there are down there at the bottom. And then the recovery rate is just to give her that added heal, which really helps when you're fighting world bosses especially. And then down here for her last gear we have skill cooldown and defense penetration. The reason I have some skill cooldown here and not all skill cooldown is because I found that at 30% skill cooldown I was getting a decent rotation with her skills, so I didn't need all skill cooldown here. So that's why I went ahead and did the defense penetration as the last few, and the reason I did that is because it stacks on her native defense penetration, so I get a little extra bonus from that. Alright, so with those pieces of gear done, let's go ahead and look at her Obelisk. So this is where you can kind of change it or tweak it to your liking. My particular Obelisk that I have here is a fire damage and a recovery rate Obelisk. And I was actually pretty lucky to roll this because these are the two that I wanted ideally. The recovery rate, of course, to work with her built-in heal, which we'll go check out in a second here. And then fire damage, because all of her skills are fire damage, which is really nice. So if you're not able to roll something like this, the next best thing would probably be go with a just straight recovery rate Obelisk. I think she would benefit more from that than a just plain fire damage Obelisk, mainly because most of the time when you're going to be using Satana, you're probably going to have her as your leader about 90% of the time, so you're going to get that fire damage boost from her leadership. So now let's look at her skills over here. So her skills, she actually has a really good set of skills. So her first skill here, she just kind of launches some fireballs at the enemy, which is not too bad. I used it during world boss fights and it seemed to work out pretty well. But the main skill that you're going to be using the most is going to be Flamethrower. This skill is really good. So basically this skill is a full iframe. So when you cast this skill, you get out of the way of damage, and the skill lasts for almost a full second, maybe two as well, that you're going to be avoiding damage. So it's really nice to kind of get out of jail free skill. Just tap that when you're in trouble. And then this little minion here is actually a really nice skill as well because it reduces the enemy's fire resistance. The main place though that you're going to be using this is going to be in Shadowland, because this will not work on world bosses. I'm 99% sure it doesn't, because I was using this skill on them and I did not see any difference, and I did not see any kind of status symbol to indicate that they were taking more damage. So the only place you would really be using this is Shadowland. And then over here, the passive. This is the one that I've been talking about for her HP recovery. So basically she has a 15% chance when attacking to get a max recovery of 10. And this is every 30 seconds. This is actually a really good passive. That 30 seconds may seem like a long time, but it actually procs quite a few times when you're doing like world boss battles or even in Shadowland, just getting this proc to go off once or twice can really be a lifesaver. So this is what we're building on with those recovery rates add-ons that we have for her in the Obelisk over here. And then these last two skills here, Fire Barrier, which is a very, very good skill, is basically puts down a wall of fire, just like it sounds, and it applies burn damage over time. So this skill right here is really good to use after you use this little minion skill, because in Shadowland, if you use little minion, then this Fire Barrier, and then go into the Succubus army to keep them stunned, you are going to do massive damage to them. Alright, so that's the skills right there. And now let's go ahead and look at her ISO 8 set. So I rolled the Prince of Lies, and the reason I rolled this one was actually I just wanted to test out the added dodge. So basically the Prince of Lies gives you a 12% chance when attacking to get 20% dodge. And that's the lowest form of it. Of course, if you have all awakened ISO 8s here, you're going to get 40% dodge. So I found that this ISO 8 set actually works really well with her, because those dodges were coming in quite handy when I was doing world boss fights and Shadowland. So it was really nice when this procced. Other good options that you can have here are going to be probably I Am Also Groot would be nice because of building on her recovery rate, and then you can get that extra heal when hit. But the only problem with that is I find that she is kind of a squishy character. So when she does get hit, she tends to take a lot of damage. So I find that she will die pretty quickly after just only a few hits. That's why this dodge really comes in handy in keeping her alive. Besides that, you can probably go with any ISO 8 set that has, I would say, defense penetration and dodge as part of it, and as long as it's a when attacking as well is best for her, because her main strategy is going to be avoid the hits if you can, because she is not a tanky character, and she doesn't need to get into the boss's face to do damage. She can attack at a distance, and she does have a nice iframe attack, so that's pretty much all you're going to be rotating through. And also, she does have really good movement speed, which I find helps quite a bit when avoiding attacks. She is quite a fast character, so that also plays on to her survivability as well. Alright, so that's going to be the ISO 8 sets. So now let's go ahead and take her into the story mission and just see how she plays for a little bit. Okay, so here we are at story mission 10-8. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in here and just let her play through it just so you can see her skills in rotation and just see how she does. We're using her as the leader, of course, because that's how you're going to probably be using her 90% of the time in Shadowland or World Boss, whenever you're using her, because you're going to want that damage increase. So let's let her breeze through this real fast. Okay, as you can see, that was no problem for her at all, doing it in under a minute. That's just kind of showcase her skills a little bit there, so nothing unusual there. I'd expect her to be able to clear this very easily, so another safe character that you can use in pretty much any farming game mode and just leave her on autoplay basically, so you're safe that way. So let's go ahead and take a look at co-op with her. Okay, so here we are at co-op. Let's go ahead and throw her in a quick match real fast. Alright, so we're just going to leave her on autoplay here and just let her do her thing. Alright, as you can see, she did really well here, 50% of the damage in 19 seconds. So she does have a really high damage output, even without her leadership. So she's a very, very good character in my opinion, especially damage-wise, movement-wise, skill-wise. Very nice character to invest in. So now, let's go ahead and do a wrap-up, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so before I give you my final thoughts on her, I thought I would take her into the hard mode on Villain Siege here, because this is a more difficult stage, and most characters won't be able to kill him in one shot. Normally you would do one round to DPS him, and then the next round you bring in your bonus characters to finish him off. So let's bring her in here and just see what kind of damage she can do to him. Okay, so not my best play there, but kind of shows off her damage a little bit, so thought I'd just throw in there just so you can see that. Those laser beams are pretty much what were causing me the most problems, but as you can see, when she did get hit even once by Doc Ock, it did take down quite a bit of her health, so you can tell that she is kind of a squishy character. That's kind of why you want to add all of that recovery rate and just dodge for survivability. So now let's go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, so that was my build/review on Satana. She is definitely a top tier character in my opinion. She is well worth the investment, and she is a farmable character. You can farm her bios from the Dark Dimensions, so you do not have to pay to get her. So that is definitely also a plus. And she is able to clear every game mode actually, so that is really nice as well. So if you need an extra clear for world bosses, an extra clear for Shadowland, of course certain stages in Shadowlands you can't do all of them, but she is a very good option and will help you get that extra clear. And I will be doing a world boss video on her as well, and that should be coming out relatively soon after the drop of this video. So definitely look for that, and if you can, I would recommend getting her. And now, at the end of all these videos, like I always do, I will suggest a character I would like to see added to the game in the future, and today's character is going to be Nina Price, or Vampire by Night. She is also kind of a hybrid character as well, because Satana is a human succubus hybrid, and she is a vampire werewolf hybrid, so it'd be pretty cool to see her in the game. So hopefully they'll do something like that, throw her in maybe for like next Halloween or something, would be kind of cool. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what else you want to see, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one.